Okay, so in this video we're going to look at a question on market failure. We're actually going to look at a very simple and generic question, again, so that you can then apply this to a number of different questions you might get. Here's the question: explain how one type of market failure will reduce the efficiency of resource allocation. A couple of things here. So I've given you the option in this question to pick any market failure that you like. Now this is probably a little bit rare. Usually it would be like explain from the list of two. It might be like public goods and common access resources, and you get to choose one. Or it might even just be one, explain how externalities is a type of market failure. In this case, you're open because we're just starting out in answering these types of questions. The second thing is that it says will reduce the efficiency of resource allocation. Now, the efficiency of resource allocation is basically a synonym for one type of efficiency. I'm not going to write this whole thing, am I? Yes, I am. One type of efficiency, did I spell it right? Efficiency. One type of efficiency. This whole thing is basically the same as saying one type of efficiency. Sorry. Okay, so what are the marks here? One is for demonstrating an understanding of the failure, whichever one you choose. It could be public goods, it could be common access resources, asymmetric information, and externalities. You're basically going to define and state the characteristics of that failure. That's your first mark, to show you know what the failure is. The second mark will always be to demonstrate in this particular situation why it is a market failure. Okay, so if you're doing public goods, you need to say they fail because they're under allocated or underproduced. If you're doing externalities, positive externalities, you need to say they're under allocated or underproduced. If you're doing negative externalities, you'd say they're overproduced by the market. Okay, so it's really key here to use that language. Are they over or under produced or over or under allocated? If we're talking about common access resources, we might say that they are over consumed. Okay, and it depends which way you go with asymmetric information. So the second mark is really to state, well, why is this a failure? Why does the market fail in this instance? And finally, we need to bring it back to that one type of efficiency. Again, I would always use, if I had the choice, allocative efficiency. It's just easy. Okay, so a bit of a sort of like scaffold here for you to have a go. You're going to say one type of market failure is, and then you're going to go and define it. In this instance, the market fails because, and this would reduce one type of efficiency because. Okay, so pause and maybe have a go at this question before you look at my sample answer. Okay, there's a nice structure for you to get started. All right, so let me show you my answer. I've done negative externalities. So again, I've said it's a situation where a market transaction imposes a cost on third parties and they're not involved in the transaction. You can give an example, you don't have to. It just adds weight to your answer. So carbon emissions by coal-fired power. I've said this market fails because it doesn't account for that carbon that it emits into the environment when the coal-fired power plant turns on its burner. It's not taking into consideration the impact that it has on the rest of society. So you turn on the power at home, you are not forced to internalize the cost on society. This is a failure. Okay, so without intervention, the market will over-allocate resources towards coal-fired power. Then we bring this back to efficiency. This would reduce allocative, that should say, not allocation efficiency, because resources have not been allocated in a way which maximizes society's needs and wants, or where the needs and wants have been satisfied. Okay, some resources could have been used elsewhere to some more productive activity. I don't know, like education or healthcare, but instead they're creating coal-fired power, which is bad for society. All right, so that's the structure regardless of which market failure you used. Pretty simple start, but as I said, we'll probably make that more difficult in your exam, and you'll probably have to pick one or two market failures, or even one. All right, bye for now.